I'm going to do that again. That's our new bell. It's a new tone. I'm just getting you all used to it. Welcome, everyone. Thank you to the Greeting Line Meeting Summaries Committee. They write the summaries every week, and thank you to that small group. Please, if you have guests, bring them up to the microphone and introduce them. We have a lot of guests today. If you can be extremely brief, I would appreciate it very much. Karen Philbrick gets to go first. There's a button on there, Karen.
Did it work?
There you go.
There we go. President Steve, it's my great pleasure to introduce my guest today, Mr. Bjorn Houston, who we actually had the pleasure of meeting at the Jennifer Jones dinner. He was a sergeant of arms helping to seat guests. He's been a Rotarian since 1999, but he's currently living internationally in Mexico and debating on moving back to the area. So please join me in warmly welcoming him as a potential member in the future of our club.
Welcome, Bjorn. Jason, before you go, Bjorn, I've got a quick Bjorn story. So I have 4 kids. My oldest son, I wanted to name him Bjorn Borkenhagen. Bjorn Borkenhagen. And my wife would have no part of it, so he became Michael, the most common name in the world. But welcome, Bjorn. Jason, your turn.
Good afternoon, President Steve. I have 4 guests today.
Way to go.
Let me start with Chris. I think a lot of you already know Chris Burrell. Chris Burrell is the executive director of the Hammer Theater Center. Maria Bones, who is the director of patron services at the Hammer Theater. Over here I have Shannon Miller, dean of the College of Arts and Humanities. And finally we have Ryan Skinnell, who's associate professor of English and comparative literature. And he'll be talking with us towards the end of it.
Welcome to all of you. And Jason, you get a brownie point for the most guests today.
At least one should be a future member. At least one.
Excellent. I know which one. I know which one it is.
President Steve, Len DeVoe visiting from Tucson,
Hi,
Rotary.
Woo!
I came back on business this week, so I wanted to come and visit my old club.
Welcome, Lance. Good to see you. Good to see you. Lisa Mallette.
Hi, President Steve. Lisa Millette, yes, thank you. I brought my friend and the general manager of City Lights Theater Company today, and hopefully a red badger soon, Ann Yonan.
Excellent. Welcome, Ann. Hi, Deanna.
Hi, President Steve. I have 2 wonderful students from the San Jose State International House, Victor Kolb, studying film, and Ren Forth, studying anthropology. And I hear Victor was in a theater production of our speaker today.
Fabulous. Welcome, Victor. Welcome, Ren. Thanks for coming. How you doing, Liz?
Good afternoon, President Steve. I just have a very quick little update. I want to just ask you all, was it magical what happened in this room last week? Thank you all so much. The people of Ukraine are going to be helped immensely by your gift. Last week, as a result of all your generosity, we sent a check to the United Nations Human Rights Council for $11,000. There's more in now, and we will be sending another check, perhaps to a different organization, but believe me, it will go into the hands of those that need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Last week was one of my proudest moments in my 30 years being in this club, so thank all of you for stepping up. Octavia, are you here somewhere? Octavia, stand up for 1 second. It's Octavia's birthday. Let's sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Octavia. Happy birthday to you. Woo! If you don't know Octavia, she's a whirlwind of power. She was just in Africa for a few weeks and has wonderful stories to tell. So if you don't know her, go sit next to her one of these weeks and have a wonderful lunch. The elevators, two of the elevators are screwed up. You probably all figured that out. The city knows about it. We can't fix it. We just wait. So when you arrive, you can either go to the 6th floor and walk up the stairs or go to the 7th floor if you're in the correct elevator. Good luck to all of you. Like all of you, I've been thinking a lot about Ukraine and why Russia has the problems that they have. And one of the answers was the First Amendment in our incredible Bill of Rights. I want to read the First Amendment to you. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. You know, those words are so profound. If you think about countries that have a constitution and an amendment like that, it makes the kind of insanity happening in Russia currently impossible. And I've been feeling this feeling of helplessness, and like all of you, been receiving a lot of emails, reading a lot of articles online and elsewhere about this tragedy in Ukraine. And I got an email from Sister Marilyn Lacey. She's spoken to our club a couple times over the decades, and she's a hero of mine. And thinking about International Women's Day and sort of the intersection of action and compassion and passion, I want to read Marilyn's brief comments that she sent out. If you are old enough, you will remember President John F. Kennedy's speech when the Soviet Union erected the Berlin Wall in 1961. He proclaimed to the world, "Ich bin ein Berliner." I am a Berliner. I stand with you. Today, we stand with Ukraine as it stands against an oppressor. Standing against oppression is at the heart of Mercy Beyond Borders. That's Marilyn's organization. We exist so that women and girls can discover their worth, speak that truth fearlessly, and advocate for changes that will protect basic human rights for all. March 8th is International Women's Day. Let's each take some action for the mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, and grandmothers who suffer now in Ukraine and in Russia, and for all refugees grieving the loss of country, home, and loved ones. We are all connected. Let's move beyond borders that separate. Isn't that nice? It's kind of personal for me. I'm Croatian on my mother's side, and my Croatian grandma, who never really spoke English, that I grew up with, she looked just like these other Slavic women in Poland, in Ukraine, in Russia. And she told me that she could even communicate with people in Poland and who spoke Polish, even though she only spoke what we called Slav, which was Yugoslavian in those days. So it's a unique moment. Let's all dig deep, do what we can to help these poor people, please. Sal Pizarro, you here? Come on up. Yeah, sure. There's still time to do a recall on Sal before he takes office. So, Sal Pizarro.
Okay, it's time for another episode of Mysteries and Histories of San Jose, and pretty soon the mystery is going to be, when did he have that beard? We're going to be keeping that up there for a while. Okay, so I'm going to call up my kind of random victim, and in this case, it is going to be the wonderful Lisa Millette. Lisa and I have worked together very well in the Lee Weimer's Emerging Artists Committee, so I know, she's the executive managing producing director, all things at City Lights Theater Company. So she knows art in this community. So when I was thinking, this has to do with art, who better than Lisa? I'm not gonna say I thought of anyone better, but I saw you first. So that's what's important.
Completely random.
Completely random. Okay, so we have this beautiful piece of art, which isn't up on the screen now. I don't know what happened. There it is. There we go. Okay, so we got this beautiful piece of art. You can see it there. You can see it. Look, we even got it down there. See? So this artwork is called Fans. It's by an artist named Stephanie Skouras, and it's in the median that separates Almaden Boulevard and Almaden Avenue as they diverge from Santa Clara Street in downtown San Jose right by the De Anza Hotel. But it hasn't always been there. So where was it in the 1970s? Was it at the Winchester Mystery House? Was it at East Ridge Mall? Was it at Marriott's Great America? And extra points for those of you who remember when it was Marriott's Great America. Or was it at Valley Fair before its expansion back in the 80s? Now, we're going to get you some help because we're a Rotary Club, we help each other. So, audience, who thinks it was A? Was it at the Winchester Mystery House? Who says B? Who says C, Marriott's Great America? Anyone for D, Valley Fair? Okay, got some Valley Fairs? So, got some Eastridge and Valley Fair. What do you think? Are you going with the majority or are you going to wildcat it?
Since I was only 4 at the time, so not doing that much shopping, I'm gonna go with Eastridge Mall.
Eastridge Mall is your answer, and that is correct. This sculpture was the centerpiece of Eastridge's then very modern design when it opened in 1971. It just celebrated its 50th anniversary last year. They removed this for no reason I can understand when it went through a refresh in 1983. But I remember when I was a child, it was a crazy looking thing then. It's crazy looking now. Thank you for playing, and next month we'll explore another mystery or history of San Jose.
Yay, thank you, Sal. I know, I was like, where's my
Dave Peterson, can you please come up? Dave's going to talk about our Interact students and Battery Recycling Day. Welcome, Dave, please.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me up here. I'll be brief. I want to introduce my guests separately, and then I'm going to let Ms. Clara here tell you a little bit about Santa Teresa. As you know, Interact Club is a sponsored group with us here from our Rotary Club to 5 schools, and Santa Teresa High School is represented today over here at this lovely table. We have Associate Principal Mike Shalaba, Club Advisor and AP Physics teacher, if you want to get a brush up on anything, Miss Demas. We have Savannah Norris, our co-event coordinator, Savannah there. Emily Duong, who's the club vice president as well. And then the club president for Santa Teresa Interact Club is Clara Medrano, who is going to share a few words and has a few slides for us.
Okay. Hello, Rotary members. I would like to begin by thanking you all for inviting Santa Teresa High School Interact Club here. We are beyond grateful for this amazing experience. As Dave introduced me, I am Clara Medrano, Interact's club president this year, and here's a brief rundown of what we have done throughout this year. So this is kind of our club structure. Every Monday we have a general meeting where we keep our members updated on everything that is upcoming for our club. And at the end of every week, our board of 10 people comes to prepare and discuss for everything that's coming up. A topic we often talk about are our events, and every week at every general meeting, we do have an event, and we have 2 out-of-meeting events every month. Another thing that we discuss are our fundraisers, which we have one every single month, and this helps us raise money for Interact's projects. Throughout this year, we are proud to say that we have quadrupled our member count. One way we have achieved this is through publications on social media, where our account has also doubled its social media following. Across a little more than 5 terms, we have amassed over 1,551 hours of community service, and our club has provided over 35 different opportunities for members to earn these hours. Some examples are seen here as we write letters to hospitalized children, or our members make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the homeless during our monthly sandwich making event. With 5 fundraisers so far, we have gained over $4,000 in club funds this year. Some ways that this profit is used to give back to the members is through bonding events, such as the ones that are seen on screen. Some accomplishments that we've done is hosting our first, Some of our accomplishments are hosting our area's first officer meeting, and another is collaborating with other clubs to provide ST students with as much exposure to service as possible. Finally, we are proud to say that ST Interact has become the largest club on campus this year, and we want to continue to grow and share our message of service above self with everybody. A perfect example of this is the lithium battery drive, which Dave will talk about shortly. Thank you all for your time.
She's still in mask mode, so it's part of that school until the end of this week, if I'm not mistaken, and however it might be. But you have an opportunity to be a part of this event that they're hosting at their school, and co-hosting this event is Deanna Precise group of the Rotary Climate Action Committee, which I've been attending meetings for, which I'll stop shortly after this for a little bit. But the bottom line is, lithium batteries are not your normal kind of a recycling opportunity. These are great things that you probably have collected up in your drawers at home. I think we have a slide here somewhere that shows, or it's on your tables actually, a great little picture of your house and all the places you might find that lithium ion battery. And because this is a week from this Saturday, I'm going to bring my truck next Wednesday. So those of you who don't want to drive to South San Jose and drop off on the 19th from 9 to 1, can come by here on the Wednesday. I'll park my truck up here by the back door. A lot of these things are things you can carry. It's that old iPad or that old phone that you have that's rechargeable that has things in it that they can recycle. And it's a big deal, a great opportunity for you. You bring them, I'll take them Saturday morning from here on Wednesday. So those are examples of it. The event itself is March 19th at Santa Teresa High School with the help of the Interact Club and the two committees of Interact and Rotary Climate Action. We're going to have our first event of many, we hope, coming. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time and this great group of kids.
Well done, Dave. Thank you. Is Tu Doe here? Tu, come on up. It's another project that we as a group can really be proud of, and Tu is our fearless leader on this. And many of you knew our friend Roy Russell, who died a while back. And let me let Tu tell this incredible story.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm very happy to announce the launch of the school construction project in Vietnam to honor Rotarian Roy Russell, who was a longtime member of this club and who passed away in January 2021. After all of the necessary paperwork, such as permits and contracts, was completed, the groundbreaking took place on February 23rd in the mountainous area of Sơn La province, Vietnam. And can you see the close-up of the banner? Sorry. Can you see the close-up of the banner, which shows the Rotary Club of San Jose and the VNL organization as co-funders, and 1+1 greater than 2 as the construction company for this project. It also shows that this project is in memory of Rotarian Roy Russell. As you can see, the entire village was extremely excited to kick off this project. Their wish for a new, safe, suitable school for the children is about to come true. And in the US, we are very excited and happy as well, as expressed by Roy's family and friends. Sloan Russell, Miss Sloan is Roy Russell, wrote in an email that we are looking at the images with tears in our eyes. Thank you with all of our very full hearts. And Roy's best friend, Rotarian Mike Cunliffe, he's not here today, but I hope he's on Zoom. Mike said, "May Roy perceive how much he is loved here and in Vietnam." For your information, Mike Conniff is the person who initiated this project to honor his dear friend. I thank Mike for that, and thanks to the International Service Committee for approving this project. And while the construction is going on in Vietnam, we are still accepting donations. In addition to the new construction, we are raising funds to renovate the old unsafe classrooms to form a bigger school with 7 classrooms, a multi-function room, and an office. As of right now, we are a few $1,000s short of fulfilling all of these needs. If you would like to contribute, please contact me or contact the office, and Leslie will be helping us to accept your donation. And please also contact me if you would like to go to Vietnam in August to attend the grand opening ceremony for the school. Contact me soon if you're interested so that we can begin planning for the trip together. It will be a very fun, meaningful, and memorable experience. With that, I thank you for your attention, and on behalf of the children in Vietnam and of Roy's family, thank you for your support. Thank you very much.
Another wonderful example of the good work around the world that comes from your donations. So thank you all. Sarah Janigan, can you come up? We're only going to be mentioning the gala this week and next week because the gala is next week. So then you won't have to listen to us pumping the gala anymore. But Sarah's done a huge amount of work. The gala is always incredibly fun. So please welcome Sarah.
Thank you, everyone. President Steve just announced that the gala is next week. Tickets are still available, so please go online or call the office, purchase your tickets to the Razzmatazz Jazz Club because it's going to be a great night. The auction activities will go live on Monday at noon. That's the 14th. So watch your mobile devices and bid high, bid often. We have over 100 items on the auction. So there is a variety and a lot of things for everybody. Thank you to all the Rotary committees who have been contributing. They have come up with some just really unique ideas. And there's a special access to the Santa Clara Train Museum, VIP tour of History San Jose, a trip to San Francisco, among other things. It's just been, the outpouring has been wonderful. So please support the auction, support the event so that we can continue to do all the good works we're doing in the world. Thank you.
We're ahead of schedule today, Sarah. What do you think of that? Lisa Millette, come on up to introduce today's speaker, and please welcome Lisa again.
Hello again. My friend and colleague, Kirsten Brandt, has such a long bio that I'm just going to stay ahead of schedule and hit you with the highlights. Kirsten is an award-winning playwright and director. She spent 6 seasons as the artistic director of the experimental theater company Sledgehammer Theater. I love that name so much. She was also the associate artistic director of our own San Jose Repertory Theater. She has directed in so many theaters that you have all heard of. I'll just toss out a few. City Lights Theater Company, the Old Globe, Theater Works, La Jolla Playhouse, Utah Shakespeare Festival, African American Shakespeare Company, San Diego Rep, Santa Cruz Shakespeare, North Coast Repertory, Marin Theater Company, Jewel Theater, and Arizona Theater Company. She is also the co-author of the rock musical that I'm sure some of you have not only heard of, but have seen, The Snow Queen, which premiered at San Jose Rep before moving to New York at the Musical Theater Festival. The Snow Queen has been produced nationally and internationally since its premiere in 2014. I love this too. She is an instigator for the Bay Area Women's Theater Festival. She's also an assistant professor of theater at San Jose State University. She has also taught at UC Santa Cruz, UC Davis, and ACT's MFA program. She's an educator, a playwright, a director, and an interdisciplinary artist. She has her MFA in that, which I think is pretty cool. Her play Coded, about women in gaming, premiered at City Lights Theater Company in 2021. And right now I would like to bring up my brilliant friend and colleague, Kirsten Brandt.
Hello. Hi, Lisa. We'll do that. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Lisa Millette, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing human being, brilliant artist, and advocate for our community and our artists. I'm just going to position my phone because I want to make sure I stay on time. Sure, we'll do that stopwatch. That'll be fine. Okay. When I was told that Lisa was going to introduce me today, I was incredibly excited about that because she shares with me a passion for the transformative power of theater. And I'm really grateful to work with her and call her my friend. So thank you so much for having me speak with you today. We're going to talk today about one of my major passions, which is technology, because that's what happened during theater in the time of COVID. I am a storyteller. I know Lisa's a director, playwright, interdisciplinary artist, but if you ask me, what are you? I say I'm a storyteller. And the way I choose to tell the story is based on the story I want to tell. And sometimes I do that with a lot of digital technology. So I believe that performance and technology and the intersection of the two is a way that we can build community. I'm going to see if my slides work. There we go. Awesome. Find my spot. The very definition of theater is about that live connection we have between audience and artist, right? And I have to say how great it is to be in front of a room of people and actually have you all looking at me and me looking at you and feeling your presence in this room. That's why we do what we do. That's what sets us apart from film. Theater speaks also to the community in which it exists, which is why doing shows at City Lights or San Jose Rep when it was here, theater works really bring me joy because that's my community. That's where I do my work. And it speaks to my community. As artists, we want to ethically engage with our community to inspire change, promote conversation, and celebrate our shared existence of being human. And to do that, we have to be in a room together. And we thought we needed to do that. Oops, getting a little close. We thought we needed to do that physically, but we realized we can do that virtually. The pandemic has forced us to think about how theater and how technology can be used to bridge that gap. Jump to my next image here. Theater pivoted when the entire world did. And I am fortunate that I am a professor at San Jose State University where we pushed forward with live stream shows, where we were supported in a way that allowed us, once the mask mandates came on board, once we knew what social distancing protocol was going to do, to continue to create art and to then bring together our theater and film department in order to live stream those events through the Hammer. Companies like the National Theater already were capturing their performances, and we were the benefits, and we received the benefit of a lot of free content during the time of COVID. We were able to see those National Theater live shows. We were able to see companies that already had an infrastructure of recording their shows live and making those accessible to us. Unfortunately, the paywalls are now back up, and we now have to figure out ways in which to see those programs. But smaller venues and a lot of the theaters in this community were under rules by unions, and all we could do was shoot an archive. So theaters had to figure out a way to make money and also move forward with their artistic practice. So through a lot of federal support, but mostly through the generosity of communities, theaters were able to get the equipment they needed necessary to create remote theater. and microphones, ring lights. I'm like, it's so nice to be talking and not have a ring light in my face. Green screens and checking out internet hubs became the mainstay of an artistic person's home practice. Every actor I know now knows how to manipulate a camera, a green screen, and change those Zoom backgrounds really well. We're all really good at those Zoom backgrounds nowadays. And this is now in their toolkit. And as a professor, I work with my students on how to best use those practices because it's not going to go away. And there's a great reason why it's not going to, and I'm going to talk about that. Who has seen a Zoom show, a Zoom play? Some of you have, okay. I was going to say, how'd it go? What'd you think? Yeah, good. Yeah, because in 2 years, the learning curve of creating Zoom content has skyrocketed. And I have two different examples here on my slide, if you can see them. One is my friends in New York City at the Seeing Place Theater. They did a Zoom reading of a play called The Queen Witch Conspiracy. This was based on a very notorious Facebook group about some witches that were trying to sell bones in New Orleans. It's very, very controversial. They wanted to do a play and they went, well, we're coming back. Should we just do the show? And they went, no, we're going to actually use Zoom for a staged reading of the show, engage with our community and talk about it. So not only were they able to kind of vet the show with their community, they were actually able to bring in the writers and fine tune the play as we would if we were doing a live stage reading. But because it was on Zoom, they were actually able to reach out to artists across the country and internationally who wanted to participate and be part of that community. The other show I have on here is called In Zoom, which was done early in the pandemic at the Old Globe Theater. I was super excited about this because I'm a giant Mr. Noodle fan from Sesame Street, and that would be Bill Irwin. And Bill Irwin, if you don't know who he is I would say he's a clown. He's an actor, but primarily a clown. And he created a piece that was less than 15 minutes long called In Zoom for the Old Globe, created for the technology. And this is one of the big things we have as we're looking at how technology is being used in live performance is we do not want to shove, a round object through a square peg, right? Or whatever that saying is. Square peg, round object, yeah, however it works. But what Bill Irwin did was create this piece. And what the Globe did was promote this piece as a let's come together. So a couple things are working here. One, name recognition of Bill Irwin. Two, it's going to be live, not pre-recorded, and we're all going to come together. There's a countdown. You can watch it, and you can watch it in a variety of different ways. You can watch it on the Globe's website. You can watch it on Facebook. And I think there was a way you could watch it on Zoom as well, but I chose to watch it through the Globe's platform because my friend was a sound designer on it, and I'm texting him going, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And he's like, stop bothering me. I'm like, why did he pick up his phone? I have no idea. But what happened was, unfortunately, Bill Irwin and Chris Fitz, who was his partner in this project, Chris's internet went down. We all know this. We've all been on those Zoom calls where somebody goes and they freeze in the most awkward, unflattering position. And so what they ended up having to do was they had taped the previous night's dress rehearsal and they ran that. And everyone was thoroughly disappointed, but they understood because we now have a lived experience of Zoom crashes. But it was a limited engagement and it was online for a while. But the important thing is it was created for the technology, not something they said, let's just do a reading of a play, which is meant for theater. But they also got something else right about what we can, as an audience, sit through. Who likes to sit through a 2-hour Zoom play? Definitely not me. No, I'll get up, I'll walk around. I would love that 15-minute morsel. And that's what this was. It was a morsel. It was a gift. Bittersweet, lovely, boom, there it is. And that was really smart of them. And that's what we're going to start seeing more and more is online content in these beautiful little morsels that keep you engaged with a theater company that you participate in, that is part of your community. All right, so we have to go back in time because I want to talk about the technology you're going to be seeing that has come out of, that was happening before, but will come out of this shared experience we have of being in our lovely pandemic. All right, so we're going back in time. Do you guys remember slide projectors? Yes? Who still has a slide projector? I do. I've got 2 of them in my house. All right, so most of these images, I have to say, are my work with my partner, David Lee Cuthbert, who is a lighting designer, media designer as well. We've collaborated on, I think we stopped count at about 70 shows. And then now we just like, we just assume we're working together on everything. But back in the day, and this is my theater, Sledgehammer Theater, back in 1999, I adapted Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and did it again in 2005 with an NEA grant, and then did it again in 2019. And we use slide projectors for projecting text. And as you can see in the picture with the guy standing there with his little hand on the slide carousel clicker, we actually pulled a slide carousel out for our biotech to talk about biotechnology during the show. It was a very trippy biotechnology kind of show about Mary Shelley, Mary Frankenstein, and Mary the Creation, set in San Diego, and the height of biotechnology. But that's what we were doing. We were using slide projectors. And that was super expensive because we had to like take photographs of things. We had to create the slides. Remember how expensive slides used to be to have that film processed? Yeah. Cut 20 years later and I'm using multiple projectors and it's cheaper because technology has been ahead. So this was the production, this is the production we did just right before the shutdown, where we're using multiple projectors, creating more digital content, and really being able to lift the actor through the technology. We have come so far and so long. This 20th anniversary production also taught us a lot about the show. All of this tech we had done 20 years ago was still valid, but now we just had better tools in which to deliver that creative content to our audiences. When I came to San Jose in 2004, we moved up here because my husband got a job at UC Santa Cruz. I was really eager to consider this practice I was doing with media. But I was confronted with something that I actually was a little bit shocked by. Here we're moving to Santa Cruz, but also near San Jose, Silicon Valley, the heart of tech. And there was a fear of technology in theater. There was a fear that it was going to upstage the actor. And I have seen shows where, yes, indeed, the media has upstaged the actor. For me, as an artist, that live connection between actor and audience is the only thing that is important. If the media upstages it, it is gone. I know you're looking at this going, there's a lot of media there, there's a lot of words, but it's all about lifting and holding the actor in the way a lighting design cue would do. So part of what happened for me was I went, oh, you've only seen shows that have the sports bar effect. Y'all been in a sports bar? Remember what those used to be? Yeah? There's a TV on in the game and you're talking to the person across from you and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, right. We don't want that happening when you're watching a show. We don't want you looking at the TV where the game, oh yeah, we want you paying attention to the actor. So we don't want that sports bar effect of moving your gaze. So when we're thinking about incorporating video and technology into the live performances you're going to be seeing, we're talking about, again, cradling and lifting the actor, or using it to distract you from maybe a scene change or something we're trying to do that we want to, because we're wizards, theater directors, aren't we, Lisa? Yes, we are. Magic. But when I came here, also something else was going on, and this is really the heart of what I'm excited about. In 2005, Ted Warburton, who is a professor at UC Santa Cruz, did a piece called Lubricious Transfer. And this piece was done with UC Santa Cruz students and NYU students in 2 venues, simultaneously connected by the internet. This is called telematics. It has been around since we had any kind of way of connecting through a Skype type situation. Now, the stage manager in New York, the stage manager in Santa Cruz hit the go button at the same time. And what you see here is the dancers in one space with the other dancers projected behind them. They are dancing together. There are 2 audiences. The audiences can hear each other. They are creating community across the nation. That's super exciting to me. So Ted came up to me because he's like, hey, I know you like tech. And I'm like, I do. And he's like, hey, can we do this with a play? I've got a couple plays in mind. And I said, well, latency, audio latency is an issue. And I also said, these plays you can't, again, you have to write for the technology. So I worked with Ted and we created Thinning Veil in 2012. It took us a couple years to figure out how to do this. And we did this on the UC Santa Cruz campus in the dark lab and the experimental theater. And I wrote and directed this production. It was taking Aeschylus's Oresteia, so Agamemnon, Clytemnestra, Orestes, Electra, kind of that lovely families from the Trojan War, and set it in more of a modern context where I had a reason for there being two rooms. I had the room of the living, the people that were still alive, and the room of the dead. And the place of the dead, the audience sat in a boat on the river Styx. So that was that audience. The audience in the room of the living was sitting in a cemetery, while Clytemnestra is at the grave of her daughter Iphigenia, who was sacrificed for good winds so that they would win the Trojan War. Clytemnestra is desperately trying to connect with her daughter, who has passed. And the whole show is about the veil, which would end up becoming the Furies if you know your Greek mythology, who were our camera operators, and you can sort of see them here in this image. And this just gives you a better idea of what the spaces look like. So I had 3 projection surfaces. Again, that other space being projected in, live camera feed, picking up the actors, master shots. It was like directing 6 films and 2 plays simultaneously. I had a little super posse of assistants that were glorious, and I learned how to storyboard. But this is what I think the future is holding. Before, whenever I spoke to somebody about, we could do this, I was met with laughter, tears, and oh, how I wish. But now with what's happening, now what we have done with technology, there is a pathway. We're not afraid. We Zoom call all the time. We talk to people in different countries. This is something obtainable and achievable. I'm going to go through just a couple things pretty quick here so I don't run out of time. There's another way to use technology. Thirsting for Salt was a project I did in Berlin where we invited people to tell stories about their loved ones that had passed through meals that reminded them of them. We then put those stories, edited them down to 10 minutes with the permission of the person telling the story, created a dinner where everyone was allowed to bring their tablet to the table, watch the videos, and eat that food that was being created so you're watching me make lamb stew, and you get to eat some lamb stew, right? Then you watch somebody else make tacos, and you get to try those tacos. Afterwards, so everybody's quiet, because you know how it is sitting at the dinner table with everybody on their devices. Afterwards, it became a community event where everyone that came to this dinner was able to share their stories. And it was a durational piece. This event lasted about 4 hours. And so that was using technology to create community. Now, some of the things we've already seen, which is scenic design being used heavily with video projection, and this is my partner and I's production of Romeo and Juliet at Arizona Theater Company, where we flipped the idea of, instead of projection embedded in a set, we actually embedded scenic elements in a projected set. So you can see Juliet's balcony was an actual hard scenic piece against a visual projections. Here's a street in Verona, Friar Lawrence's cell, and another street in Verona. We've seen this already. This is something that's going to continue to happen because the price of lumber and paint is become astronomical. We have a supply issue. Technology, even though, yeah, we need lamps, or bulbs. Lamps, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Don't tell my husband I said bulbs. Because of that, we're going to see more and more virtual spaces being created. But also, it can create character. And some of you might have seen Dr. Faustus at San Jose Rep back in the day, where here's the good angel and bad angel talking to Dr. Faustus, who could instantly go from one to the other. Again, this wasn't distracting from the actor's performance. In fact, it highlighted and lifted the performance as she became the benevolent, good angel, saying, please, Faustus, repent, to don't repent, as she kind of became this more darker force that was trying to suck his soul. But we can also use it as low tech. What you see in the picture next to it is projected text, but also using the projected light with shadow play. So low tech, high tech. And a lot of Shakespeare does lend itself to video technology. In fact, the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I think the National, I don't know if NTC Live, I'm looking at Chris over there, if they have this. Do they have this? Yeah? It's in rotation, maybe? Okay, so you might be able to see this. In 2017, Intel worked with the Royal Shakespeare Company to create a digital avatar for the character of Ariel in The Tempest. Really, really cool. Now, is this good for every show? No, it's not. But The Tempest is about magic. It's about a magician. Just like Faustus was about a guy talking to, having magical powers because he sold his soul to the devil, right? So some shows, as storytellers, we want to use that level of technology. So we might see more of this too in the future as we come out, because now that we have virtual reality, now that we are used to heavier layers of technology because we've been using them, it's not so terrifying to us. There's other platforms like OBS, which is open broadcaster software, where you can take your Zoom show, add multiple layers behind it to give it more dimension than just the Brady Bunch squares that we don't want to see anymore. The problem with these for the actor, though, is the actor is very isolated from the experience. How technology and Zoom shows build community is by that chat function, right? We've got the chat going, we're engaging with the chat. The actors are not. The actors are busy and working. The actor cannot feel the audience. That's the issue with these Zoom shows. That's why creating content for multimedia to be shown for like an in-Zoom type project, or doing a stage reading where the actor gets to do a post-show discussion afterwards with the audience, is the way of the future as we come out of COVID. And I'm not gonna be able to show you the video, but you'll be able to just Google San Francisco Shakespeare. They created something called the Unified Virtual Space, where right early in the pandemic, I was blown away by what they were able to do. Every actor had a green screen. All of those actors you see in that picture are at their own homes. No one is together. They were able to figure out a way in which to stage, direct, and act all in, and then bring those through a OBS type platform and create then a live stream of their show. And they've done it a couple times. It's pretty astounding. I'm just gonna jump the video. And then I just wanted to say, hey, Lisa, look at our show. I wanted to just kind of end with the future. I work with students. They are not afraid of technology, they just need access to it. We are going to start seeing ways in which Twitch, that was loud, Twitch, anybody on Twitch? I'm now on Twitch. Discord, all sorts of different new platforms, TikTok. The Ratatouille TikTok musical was one of the best things I saw on lockdown. It started off as a whole group of folk that were just like wanting Ratatouille to become a musical, the Pixar Disney film. And it became, the crowd started like writing songs, and then all of a sudden they created a musical of it that raised money for the Actors Fund. And Andre DeShields played Anton Ego, and it was so fabulous. But let's circle back to community. So there's ways we can use our technology and everything we learned in COVID to maintain that. One, it could be with telematic work, how we can connect what we're doing here with another community. Think about it. We could be working with a company in Seoul, Korea. We could be working with somebody in Amsterdam or London and connecting with them globally. And our shared experience doesn't just need to be within our community. We can share what's going on with us abroad. And we see how social media is doing that with everything going on in Ukraine right now, and how social media is actually helping to amplify voices that are being suppressed. We can also look at how podcasts, I'm pointing at Lisa because they've got a great podcast series that they do, live stream of like cabaret nights, but ways to invest in the community and create conversation is one of the big things we have learned in COVID. How Zoom, the chat, I love Zoom chat. I actually lectured this morning, and I'm like, I kind of miss the chat function because they used to be really like, I was in person. So it was like, can we just kind of start chatting now? It's like chat time. Part of me wants to just kind of have them on Zoom so they can chat and I can see it on my screen. But we're going to be seeing stage readings a lot more stage readings as theaters start to vet new work, introduce you to new content, and also other forms of content to keep you engaged. Lisa, how many shows are you guys doing this season? They're doing 6 shows. So that's like, and they run about a month. So it's half the year, right? There's a show playing. So in those off times, think about the potential for keeping you engaged with the community by a stage reading or other video content or other things that you can actually, I won't say consume, it sounds like so capitalistic, but consume from the pleasures of your own home. Have your glass of wine or your coffee or your tea and engage in some art. What we learned in the pandemic, I don't want to go away. I want to keep it present. I want to keep it alive because I actually, in being so isolated, feel more connected. And I think there's ways in which we can do that and to make that aliveness that we so desperately crave and want still present in the art we do, but we can also take that another step further and engage us in ways where accessibility does not become an issue, that it is accessible to all. So thank you very much, and I'd love to take some questions. By the way, the Bay Area Women's Performance Festival is having a BIPOC series and a classical woman series, and a lot of those are going to be online, so please join us for those stage readings.
My wife and I try to go back to New York at least once a year, and we're not able to do that for a couple of years. So in December, we went back with a couple of years hiatus. We head to Broadway. So we saw 4 shows in the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes.
Woohoo!
And what was noticeable about it is it was all live with live people there, but the technology in the performances was noticeably improved over what we'd seen just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think the technology keeps growing. We are just now like, we're running to keep up with it. Absolutely. Totally.
It's fascinating and very noticeable change in just a couple of years.
Yeah. And I want to just point out that a couple years ago, Emma Rice, who was the artistic director of the Globe in London, left her position because she was adding too many lighting and sound cues. And the company said, this goes against the authenticity of Shakespeare's aesthetic. Y'all, Shakespeare would love all this technology. He starts his shows with shipwrecks and witches. He wants tech. Hi.
Hi there. Thank you so much for your presentation. I've been lucky enough to see a few San Jose Opera performances where they use some of this technology in the background. So I'm really excited to see this.
That was probably my husband's.
Yeah, really?
Probably.
Fantastic. But I'm curious, during the pandemic, I was lucky enough to find things online that I could experience from home. If I wanted to see the best in opera shows and theater shows, how do I search for those things?
If you answer that question, I have a line of students that want to see them with you. There's paywalls. Chris Burrell's nodding over there. Like during the pandemic, the generosity of artists should not be ignored. And theater companies were letting their content out there for free, but artists need to eat, so we do need to pay them. There's a lot of things like Canopy. Netflix now has a few things. Look at National Theater Live does a lot of stuff. But the more we allow operas, and the Met has a whole series too. But what that also does, and just something I'm really cautious of, is the standardization of what is art, because there's a certain, if everything we're seeing is from London, how is that different than something we're gonna see created here at Theater Works or City Lights, But there are a lot of venues out there, and I've been trying to find them all, and my colleagues and we want to make all of our content accessible for our students, and we're trying to find those free things. I'm looking over at Chris, who's just nodding. I wish I had an easy answer for you.
Well, thank you.
But you can also, gosh, I'm going to say it, Disney Plus has Hamilton. But opera's a whole nother thing, though. Yeah, but I'm glad you're seeing the technology at if you saw the Cinderella, that was my husband's lighting design and media design on that too. No more questions. I get to go eat.
Kirsten, I want to thank you on behalf of our club. We, in your honor, will be making a donation to Tabard Theater. I know we donated to Lisa's organization recently, so I otherwise would have done it to City Lights. We all love City Lights, but I would encourage all of you to support all local live theater. It's a really critical part of our cultural scene. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
John During in the house. Hey everyone, can we give John During a standing ovation? This guy. I can safely say, with the exception of our paid staff, no one does more work for this club than John During, and he does it all efficiently, with a smile, and quietly. And so all of you, when you get a chance, thank John for everything he does for us, please. With that, next week, our speaker will be Brian Adams. You all know that Brian's presentations are the highlight, really, of every Rotary year. So please come. Also, today is the deadline to vote for the pictures and people you think will win all the Academy Awards. So if you've seen any films, please go back and vote so Brian has more fodder for all of us. And with that, meeting adjourned. We'll see you in a week.